Hi, my name is Simon, and in this video I'd like to take you through a couple of the cool debugging features available inside of Ozcode. So what I have here is a fairly standard C# program which is going to load a CSV file. That CSV file looks like this. It just happens to be a set of open data that the Canadian government is providing about concentrations of hexabromocyclododecane in the water supply. I'm not sure if high concentrations are good or bad of that, but it's open data anyway, and it provides some data for us to run our application against. But somewhere in this data are some outliers which we want to throw away. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the standard deviation, and we're going to throw away anything that is kind of 2 means above or below the center. So that gives us about 95% of the data intact. Let's go and run this. I've put a breakpoint on the for each, where we're going to loop over all of the records. So let's see what happens. Alright, so right away you can see that Ozcode has added a couple of interesting looking icons here. The first of these is the time travel debugger. Now there's already a time travel debugger in Visual Studio, but this version is a little bit different. The Visual Studio time travel debugger allows time travel backwards through an application. So if you have an application that is running on a server, you can take a dump from it and time travel backwards through it. Ozcode allows you to travel forward into the future and see what code execution would do if it was allowed to proceed. So let's go and enable that. We're also going to enable this heads-up display. So the heads-up display is going to give us the values of variables as we progress through this data. So now we're going to whip over here to this little display here. And this tells us that there are 414 records in our collection. Every time we click through, we can see what the evaluation would be should this loop progress to that particular index. We can even scroll all the way back up here to a known bad value and see how the condition changes. So you can see that this value is way outside of our standard deviation, so it's going to be discarded. Ozcode has highlighted the if statement in a different color, so we can easily spot what's going to happen. Now these values here in the heads-up display are useful for single values, but you'll notice for this item here, all Ozcode is able to do is print out what sort of record it is. However, if we drop into this in a quick watch window, we can add a little hint to Ozcode to tell it what to display us. So if we jump in here, concentration found is really the value that we're most interested in. So if we star that, it moves it up to the top here. And over here, we can see that that value is now displayed. So this should allow you to preview values very quickly and easily without having to individually set breakpoints and jump to exact locations in the loop. The heads-up display avoids having to set a bunch of watches or drill in with quick watches, and generally surfaces a lot more information. I find this very important when I'm debugging a particularly complex loop. I think you will too.